After 26 years, what a hell of a ride. And in a few seconds, we're gonna see the director of this, who brought us the new 3D, and he will be there. And we'll be looking forward to see James Cameron in a sec. You have to take care, you see me a little bit over there, you will keep with that. But if I say hello to him, give him a big and great applause. You will do. Oops. Hello, Mr. Cameron.
Hello, hello, do you see me?
Yes, wonderful.
Hello, Berlin.
Hello, LA. Good afternoon to LA.
Yes, well, you're lucky you're not here because it's pouring rain like a monsoon.
Yeah, I guess that's your company, Lightstorm, huh?
Yeah, this is at our screening room at Lightstorm.
Mr. Cameron, the 67th International Film Festival is very proud to have your world premiere of the 3D version of T2 here in Berlin. It's good to have you here, and there's some question we have for you. Are you ready?
Absolutely, so darn ready. I've had 26 years to prepare.
That's great, that's great. So, Mr. Cameron, if the technology had already been available in 1991, would you have been shooting this film in 3D right from the beginning?
Oh, yeah, no, I think absolutely. I wasn't thinking about 3D that much at the time, but you know, obviously I've fallen in love with it later in the late 90s, actually the mid-90s, when we started developing a T2 3D attraction for Universal Studios. And I fell in love with 3D then and then started to want to make movies in it. But I think you can see from the shot design that I think in depth. You know, there's always a foreground, midground, background, and the camera's always moving to try to get them to you know, the foreground and midground to move against each other. So there are a lot of depth cues already in the film. We found it very straightforward to turn it into 3D.
Yes.
I'm going to answer the way you do. Yes.
So actually it's a bit difficult because I didn't know at the moment if this was a storm or if it was just you. So, are we ready for the second one? You initiated the restoration and the 3D conversion of the film. What inspired you to restore and convert exactly this film? Which scenes were especially important to you?
Well, I'm proud of the film. I think it holds up well. I think it's timely now, given where we are with surveillance and drone warfare and all this sort of thing, and a kind of growing fear of artificial intelligence. So I think the film still has a timeliness. We had a very successful restoration and conversion of Titanic. So I understood the process better, and I felt that we could do it at a price that would make sense as a business model. And I always thought that if Titanic worked to be re-released in 3D, that I then would do Terminator 2.
But maybe actually, can you give us some scenes that were especially important for you in this process?
Well, I think that Terminator 2 also represents a certain moment in history when we were just starting to understand the power of computer-generated visual effects. And so obviously, as much as I love Arnold's performance and the iconicity of Arnold as that character, I'm also especially pleased with what we were able to accomplish very early in the age of computer graphics and computer animation with the T-1000 character. So any of those transformation scenes, especially I like the one where he comes out of the floor at the hospital, because it's just so surreal and unexpected.
Did you ever talk to Arnold about this 3D version, or had he any ideas for that too?
I talked to Arnold when we had decided to go ahead, and when Studio Canal had given us the green light to do it, and I asked him to be involved in the promotion, which he did a little bit with the Chinese promotion for DMG. He loved it. You know, he loved seeing the film in 3D. It's like seeing it almost for the first time in a way, especially since he and I had both been away from it for a while. We hadn't seen it in years, and so it was really enjoyable to watch the film again with kind of fresh eyes.
Yeah. We would like to know more about the work procedures which are necessary to convert a two-dimensional film into 3D picture. What is special about work on an existing film to change it into the 3D digital form?
Well, I think, you know, if you step back and you look at what the opportunity is, it's the opportunity to bring a film back to the big screen. And in a way, to me, that's just as important, if not even more important, than the 3D part of it. This was an opportunity to bring Terminator 2 to an entirely new generation that knew it only from DVD or Blu-ray. So we start with the very best possible mastering of the film. So it was a 4K master. We spent a lot of time on the color grading. I even brought the director of photography, Adam Greenberg, who had worked on the film back in 1991. And he's now 80, but his eye for color is still perfect. So I brought him in for the color grading. So you start with a great remaster. Then from that, you have to create depth for every single object, every person, everything in the frame. This is a tremendous amount of work, and it has to be monitored very closely by people that know 3D and know stereo space. So my team here at Lightstorm, we have a lot of experience in 3D. So Jeff Burdick runs that group. And so they worked with the 3D conversion house, which is called Stereo D. And they're the same people that did Titanic. So we were really trying to go for excellence in every frame throughout the film. Throughout the film.
Maybe you give us a chance to get the last sentence. It was somewhere between the oceans.
Yeah, it fell in and sank. It's sitting next to Titanic on the bottom right now.
So you're known as the driving force behind these new developments of 3D technology, and are currently working on a new technology which would allow audience to enjoy 3D films without the glasses, which we had today, as you can imagine. Tell us a little bit about your motivation. Why is this technology so appealing to you?
Well, I haven't seen a demonstration yet of a technology that allows us to see it in a movie theater without glasses, but I don't think that's a problem. I think people are willing to make a contract with a movie in a dark movie theater, and they'll wear the glasses and forget they're there. Where I don't think it works is in the home, watching on a TV or on a laptop or some device. I think that needs to be without glasses. And there's good new technology from a number of the major companies that makes that possible. Unfortunately, the timing has been very off for broadcast 3D. Everybody rushed out and started doing broadcast television. BBC was doing it, and ESPN was doing it here for sports, but you still had to wear glasses. And I just don't think people want to wear glasses to watch TV. So now we've got screens that will support that, but all of those companies are now not doing it anymore. So the timing has been off. I think sooner or later it'll come back, and we'll just easily move into an age of seeing stereoscopic media on screens. But it's not as high a priority for everyone right now as getting 4K pushed out there. Until that's ubiquitous, I don't think we'll look back to 3D.
Okay, we're looking forward to that. And in 2019, after 35 years, you will own the rights again on the Terminator franchise. Will you also be directing a Terminator film again?
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that applause. I mean, well, look, it's a complex issue. The current rights holder is Skydance, and they did the most recent Terminator film, Terminator Genesis. And I'm in very early discussions with them, because why wait till 2019 if we don't have to? If we know that's coming, why don't we get ahead of it, you know? I won't be able to direct it because I'm doing 4 Avatar movies back to back, and they're all written, and we've already started preparation on that. So, but that doesn't mean that I can't be creatively involved, but I don't really have anything concrete to say about that right now. But fingers crossed that we could bring Terminator back. I think the bigger issue is, you know, how do we make it fresh? How do we make it new and as inventive for the 21st century as the first 2 Terminator films were, you know, 25 and 30 years ago?
But after 4 more avatars, maybe in 2029, when the original Terminator came to us, maybe that is your time to come back again.
There you go, perfect. I'll just tap out there with my cane and my oxygen tube and call action on Terminator 14.
Okay, we can meet then again here. Mr. Cameron, as you know, we have also some Facebook questions for you prepared. And the first is from Jan Hollander. Okay. Mr. Cameron, if you could do a remake of this masterpiece with today's filmmaking possibilities, could you imagine how it would look like? Since I saw the making of T2, as in making of T2, my mind was blown with how much creativity it was made.
Well, thanks for that, Jan. You know, the interesting thing is I wouldn't do things very much differently. Part of the power of Terminator 2 is that so much of it was done real for real. And I think that the important thing about computer-generated effects is to know when to use them and when not to use them. And if you're just going to crash a tow truck into a drainage canal, I think just crash a tow truck into a drainage canal. Don't you just want to see that happen? You know? So I would probably do a lot of the things very much the way we did. Now, using CG fluid simulation, we could do the liquid steel at the end of the movie much better now than we could back then. But I think audiences have, you know, they know to look at a movie for the time that it was made also. And I don't think Terminator 2 should be judged against current visual effects standards. I think it should be judged against the standards of its time. That said, I think it holds up pretty well.
The next question is by Luke Smith. Are the visual makeup effects digitally altered too?
No, we didn't change anything within the film. You know, we just regraded the color, and obviously we did the stereo, the 3D, but we didn't alter anything within the film. I think you get into a slippery slope of revisionism then, and starting to correct your mistakes, and where would that end? You know, I mean, if there was one thing we did, which had always bothered me. When the tow truck hits the bottom of the drainage canal, the windshield falls out. And you can see it plain as day. And then in the next shot, it's still in the truck. So I told him to paint that out and fix the windshield. But that was just for me, because it always bothered me. So full disclosure.
Glad you made it. Next question by Michael J. Doyle. Terminator 2 is my favorite movie, and it's also many other people's favorite movie. Why do you personally think it attracts so many people, even in the years since its release?
Well, it's interesting, Michael. You know, we asked ourselves that, and you know, I think maybe maybe it has a kind of a classic status, and it's fondly remembered by people then, or maybe people still feel a kind of relevance of the ideas. It was Arnold in his prime. It was Linda Hamilton in her prime. You know, it had a lot of fresh visual ideas for its time, and so I think there's that memory that people have of an experience that they had in a movie theater back then. And I don't know if you're of that age group, but I think people remember having their minds blown back then, and it just has that kind of lingering sense of something cool. I don't know. I think it's hard to quantify why a film lasts in the public consciousness.
Yeah, I'm at that age. I can definitely tell you. So, next question is by Dorian House. How much involvement did you have with the conversion process, and what aspect of the film do you most fondly remember?
Well, those are kind of two different questions, Dorian. So in terms of the conversion process, I wasn't there every day going through every frame of the film, but everything passed, before me for final review in a couple of stages. So I have a good team in place here at Lightstorm at my company that really understand 3D. They know it like the back of their hand, and they're very, very good at running a 3D conversion process. And we had a very, very good vendor, Stereo D, right here in Los Angeles, that did the work. And we had learned a lot from the Titanic conversion. So I trusted them to do a good job up to a point. Then they'd bring it to me. I'd look at it and I'd say, no, we need a little more depth, or that's not quite up to snuff, or let's fix this or that. So I was sort of the last set of eyes that it passed before. And so then I had all the final approvals. And I did sit and do the color grading myself. I mean, with our color grading team, obviously, but supervise that. So it's pretty hands-on, I guess, from my perspective. And if just refresh my memory what the second part of the question was from Dorian?
It was, which aspect of the film do you most fondly remember?
Oh, well, every scene has little stories that come with it that I remember from the day of the shooting. And there's one particularly fun moment for me that when Sarah hits the orderly across the bridge of the nose with the mop handle, Linda pretty much just hit that guy across the face with a mop handle. It broke, and it's because of a scene where he had made her mad the day before. And I didn't know she was going to do it, but she just kind of did it.
Sorry again.
So, moral of the story is, don't make Linda mad.
Okay, last question from this Facebook questions by Steve Tatua, and this might be a quite difficult question for you. Where would T2 rank amongst all your other directed films as your favorite? Also, how many times have you seen it? He saw it over 100 times.
Oh my goodness, well, I think he's got me beat. Well, look, I mean, obviously, as a film director, you see every part of the movie thousands of times. In terms of sitting and watching the finished film, it might be 20 times, over at most, maybe less, and maybe only once or twice in the last 10 years. So it takes some time to have some distance from a film that you've made where you can really watch it and enjoy it. And I've gotten to see it with my children, and see their perspective on it. So, that's a reason to watch it again. But speaking of children, you don't ask somebody I have 5 kids, you don't ask me which of my children I like the best. So I can't really answer the question of which of my movies I like the best.
I guess Steve can live with that. Next question, this is from the other Facebook side, from the Terminator fan side. What changes, enhancements are you most proud of with Terminator's 2 3D remaster?
Well, I think just the overall quality of the film, the quality of the presentation. We worked very hard on good 3D. We worked very hard on, we started with a 4K transfer, and then we did a degraining process. So it actually looks better, even if you watch it in 2D. It would look better than it did on the day. I think it looks better than the 70mm prints that we released at that time, if you see it in a good digital theater. And I hear that the presentation, the screening room is very good there that you're in right now. So, you know, I think I'm just, yeah, good.
So, final question. After the experience of converting T2 3D, would yourself and Lightstorm Entertainment be interested in remastering the first movie and doing a 3D conversion?
Look, I think it would be great to do all my films. I'd love to see The Abyss. I'd love to see Aliens. It gets down to a matter of economics, really. So if the T2, the Titanic release was very successful. We made $440 million re-releasing Titanic in 3D. So if we make some reasonable amount of money with the T2 re-release, and we start to feel confident, maybe we can start looking at some of the other films as well, if we think there's a market there. Or if we think that, you know, if this demonstrates that it sort of becomes kind of a vanity project, then I probably wouldn't do it.
But don't you think that the Terminator 1 would be a bit too difficult to bring it to 3D in terms of the budget it was shot?
Well, exactly. I mean, the first Terminator film didn't make that much money. It made a big splash because it was a new, fresh idea, but it was a low-budget film, and it did well for a low-budget film. You know, again, we just have to look at the economics of it, whether that made sense.
Yeah, but at the moment we are really happy to have you here on the screen and have the audience here for the world premiere of the 3D of T2, and it was a great pleasure, as you can hear by the audience, and it's...
Thank you. Sounds like a great crowd.
Yeah. And besides that, we wish you a good luck and good success with the opening, and I guess it will be open this year in...
It's in summer. It's toward the end of August in Europe.
In summer it will work, and then will be hopefully better weather in LA and everywhere in the world to open this one. Maybe before we say goodbye to you, Mr. Cameronnal, just give us a shortcut. What are you doing at the moment, and what can we expect next?
Well, right now I'm deep in the preparation for Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's going to take me the next few years, as you might imagine.
Okay. But we definitely hope that next time we have you in Berlin alive, in 3D. But it's great to have you on the screen. Thanks for being here with us, and all the best to LA and better weather now. Thank you, Mr. Cameron.
Thank you. All right. Bye. Thanks, everybody.